is increasing across the state at various hospitals, we still face a crisis at the local level when suicide calls occur. What is your plan to prevent unfavorable outcomes? Do, don't they? They get a 3-minute introduction. It wasn't written down. Would y'all like to just say a few words first? I'll give you 2 minutes each.
Is it on? All right. Thank y'all for coming out tonight. It means a lot to me. Y'all could have been anywhere else tonight, but y'all chose to be here, and it means a lot. I know several other candidates that ran in the primary. I think all of y'all are here except for one, so I appreciate y'all showing up as well. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this, Shannon, for organizing it. I really appreciate it. I'm Darren Pierce, and I'm running for sheriff. I have 18 years of experience under the current sheriff. I left about 3 years ago, and since I started this campaign in January, I told you I was running on 4 things. I was running on transparency. We're going to make sure that we let you know what is going on in your communities. First thing we're going to do is we're going to develop a social media Facebook page so we can share the information. We can share the information with y'all. 2, we're going to develop a drug canine interdiction team. That is something that we have to do in this community. Drugs are running rampant in this community. We have people overdosing left and right on fentanyl. We had one of the best canine handlers in the state, probably in the country, and he's no longer with the department. We're going to develop community-oriented programs. Community is important. You have to work with the community and not against your community. So, guys, he's had 32 years to do this. All right. And lastly, I've said this since day one, school resource officers in every single school in this county. Recently, he had made a radio ad, and I just heard it today, that is something he is going to do. Well, my question is, you've had 32 years to do it. Why is it now that you're being challenged by me, and that's my number one objective, why is it now that you are wanting to do that? That is something that should have been done over the last several years. So with that being said, I would love to have y'all's vote for Darren Pierce for sheriff.
Hold it. Okay, you're up.
Okay, thank you very much. I am Scott Chitwood and serve as your sheriff currently. Thank you very much for the honor and privilege. I'm in my 32nd year, and y'all have blessed me with one of the highest honors that could be bestowed upon any one person. I think any elected official in here would do it. Many of the questions are going to address some of the things I was going to say, just to follow up on the school resource officers. Yeah, it may be the timing. We have been working with the school system since 2021, meeting with the school officials. We proposed school resource officers in every school in this county. They denied our proposal. We met again in 2022. This is documented with meeting notes and memos. We proposed again. The state school superintendent has now issued a letter. I have it in the file here, September 21st. The school resource officers would be placed in every single school system in this state. So with that being said, we have been working on school resource officers since 2021. The school has now accepted it. $45,000 per school is going to be granted from the governor's office. So it's not going to cost local hardly anything. So that is something that we have wanted, and that's something that now has been approved. So with that, we'll continue with the questions, and thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Like I said, what funding for mental health services increased while funding for mental health services increasing across the state in various hospitals, we still face a crisis at the local level when suicide calls occur. What is your plan to prevent unfavorable outcomes in the scenarios? And do you or will you dispatch a patrol car when a suicide call is received?
I guess the first thing, there were some rumors and circulating throughout the county that we do not answer suicide calls. That is absolutely totally false. As of this year, we've already answered 75 suicide calls. There are situations where we may not send a car. We have a residence up in Tunnel Hill right now that the guy plainly says when he has suicide threats, if you send an officer, I will blow him away when he parks his car in the driveway. We do not, nor does Tunnel Hill PD, respond to that call. There's such a thing called suicide by cop. When we know that is going to occur, we may back off. We set 7 hours about 2 months ago up here in Rocky Face with a man that was threatening suicide. He was 91 years old. We did not push it. We sat there for 7 hours to about 5 o'clock in the morning and waited him out. We did not feel it was necessary to be aggressive and force our way into a man's house that was 91 years old. We recently had a man on the north bypass of the bridge that was threatening to jump, and along with the city police and us, we detoured the traffic, shut it down to one lane, and sat there for a couple hours to talk the man down. So we do answer suicide calls, okay? The mental health issues, that is one thing that is probably the hottest topic at our conferences throughout the state. Every sheriff in the state will tell you that that is the number one problem in the jail. We are not a mental health institute. We have 33 inmates currently that are classified as mental health and incompetent. We have 14 waiting for transfer. About 2 weeks ago, Kevin Tanner, the commissioner of the Department of Public Health in the state of Georgia, came to our office. We're ready to kick off a pilot program with the help of the state to bring a doctor and a physician or doctor into the facility to treat these people, to analyze them, to expedite the process. The commissioners were kind enough to approve a position. We have a behavioral health specialist on board right now at the sheriff's office. She does the very same thing as far as evaluating and limited treatment, but she processes the papers so we can move these inmates as soon as possible to get them the proper help that we need. When we transfer people, we have to go to Rome or Columbus or North Star in Atlanta. We have to travel to do it, and we are constantly on the road transporting inmates. So we have taken a very, very positive step to treat this. Sadly, it's not a crime to be mentally ill. It's not a crime to take your own life if you want to, but we do everything as our EMTs and the medical personnel do to prevent such calls.
To answer your question, first you want to develop a policy that states that no less than 2 officers go to a suicide call. They don't arrive by themselves. Just the other night, I do believe that an officer arrived by himself, and unfortunately he had to take that individual's life. It was a suicide call. But he said they answer suicide calls. January the 5th of 2023, News Channel 12 did an article on this. You can look it up yourselves. There are also documentation where his office refused to go and answer suicide calls. We have to go back to answering the suicide calls. That could be somebody's mom, somebody's dad, somebody's brother, somebody's sister. You answer every single one of those calls. You have to develop a CRT, it's a crisis intervention team. You have to make sure that these individuals, there's at least one member of that team on every single shift in case they have to use that technique. They have to be highly trained in de-escalation, they have to have great communication skills. But ladies and gentlemen, I can post this on my social media page and you can see for yourself, his office refused to answer suicide calls, and an individual took his own life because he failed to go and help him.
With an influx of between a reported 300 to 400,000 migrants that are currently in the state of Georgia, has law enforcement in Whitfield County witnessed an increase in migrant misdemeanors or felony crimes in Whitfield County since 2021?
Crime has increased, and it has been steadily increasing since 2017. I can show you momentarily as soon as I find it, where I pulled these statistics from the FBI Crime Explorers database, show you right here, his office. Since 2017, crime has been reporting violent crime, that is your murders, your rapes, your robberies, and your aggravated assaults. We have to get tough on crime. We're not. Crime has been on increase. They just spoke about it the other day in the newspaper. We've had 5 murders this year. 5 murders. It's out of control. We've got to do something about it. We need a change at the sheriff's office. We've got to get tough on crime.
I think the question dealt with immigrants and stuff coming in. We've had about a 13% increase in the last 3 years versus 3 years prior to that. I correlate that simply because of the increase in the population. Population increase, yes, crime is going to come with it. One comment I was going to say, something I apologize. But we are not overloaded. Massive crime has not. I will say publicly, if he can stop murders, I'll vote for him. Nobody in this country can stop murders when it occurs. Okay? The killing that we had recently in the Pleasant Grove area, they were not illegal. That was a dope deal gone bad. It was a very, very tragic ending. It could not be stopped. We knew nothing about it, but fortunately within about 10 hours we had an arrest made. So, we're very pleased. I'll probably say it at the end of something, but that's one of the things we're most proud of. After 32 years, we have 0 unsolved murders in Whitfield County. And I think that should make you, as citizens here, very proud.
House Bill 1105 would mandate law enforcement to apply to enter into 287 contracts that deputize local law enforcement to enforce federal immigration law. Whitfield County entered into a 287 contract in 2020. Tell us more about the jail enforcement model that Whitfield County currently follows.
I think it's 287G.
Correct.
I'll work 287G. Yeah, I'll work with you. And that was incorrect. We entered the agreement in 2006, so we have had the 287G program. All the 287G program is it basically gives our local officers who have federal credentials that they can go into the ICE database to check people, okay? Hold on to your seats. It's not against the law to be illegal in the state of Georgia. There is no crime in the state of Georgia in the criminal code section that says it's illegal to be here. So what happens if we find somebody that is foreign born and we arrest them and they come to jail for shoplifting, burglary, theft, rape, murder, drugs, whatever you want to say? What happens is we check that individual through local warrants checks for our records, Dalton PD, Tunnel Hill, whatever. If they're not wanted, we check GCIC, that's Georgia Criminal Information Center. That's the database for the entire state of Georgia. That will tell us if they're wanted in Macon, in Atlanta, in Columbus, and Valdosta. If they're cleared there, we check NCIC. That tells us if they're wanted in Chicago, in Los Angeles, Florida, Miami, wherever. The 287G is just an additional database that gives our officers that have had the federal training the right to go into that database. I can't do it. Most of the employees at the jail are not certified. We have 5 employees currently that have federal credentials, and that's what allows. If we find that that person is wanted somewhere, we put a hold on them, we contact ICE, that will take them to a federal judge, deportation judge, and been going to Atlanta, but most often now we're going to Gainesville, and they deal with it, okay? So that's what the 287G program, we've had great success. Since we've had it, we've had over 50, I think we're right at 50 different nationalities from foreign countries to come through our facility. And if you'd have asked me, I'd have said 4 or 5. We've got countries listed. I've got the sheet here. got countries listed, I couldn't even tell you where they're at. We're talking, I know where Ethiopia's at, but we're talking countries in Africa. We're talking the islands. We're talking Guam, Sudan, everything. And those people have come through Dalton, Georgia. Those are the people that we have encountered and interacted with. But they have violated state law. That's where they're in jail. So to sum it up, I can't go out here and just see somebody that may have a different look than I do and stop and ask them if they're legal or illegal. You can tell me you're illegal right now, I can't do anything about it. But if you are a Georgia criminal code that's in the criminal code book of the state of Georgia, I can arrest you for that. So hopefully that explains the 280G program. Thank you.
Only 5 officers. We need more officers that are trained in that program. And that's something I plan on doing, is training more officers in the 287G program. Part of the 1105 bill that Governor Kemp signed into law requires the sheriff to at least quarterly report how many inmates he has booked into the jail and the number of immigrant detainers issued by the United States Immigration and Customs Division, that's ICE. So I would want to know where we find this information at. He's supposed to publicly tell us how many detainers he has each month or at least quarterly.
Given the high new employee turnover rate, what are the plans to maintain retention of new and current employees?
Have a change at the top. You got to have management guys that take care of your employees. Money's not the issue. People do not leave their jobs. They leave their bosses. When people don't feel valued, they don't feel respected, they don't feel like they're part of the team, they're going to leave and they're going to go somewhere where they are. The agencies around us are almost fully staffed. They might have 1 or 2 that they still need to be fully staffed. I know Gordon County Sheriff's Office the other day, I talked to an individual, they're fully staffed. Murray County's missing 1. We're missing several. We have to get back to caring for our employees, taking care of them, listening to them, valuing them, growing them, investing in them. So people leave their bosses, they don't leave their jobs. So when you change management, you're going to have better retention.
We were fortunate last year and got it approved. I gave the officers a 12% increase last year. We have incentive pays, we have incentive for college degrees, we have incentive for bilingual. We've done social media ads, we've done billboards, we do go to every job fair. We have 230 positions, we have 227 employees. We are 3 short. We have a 99% retention rate compared to the national average of about 70%. So currently, right now, we are doing as well as we can possibly do, and we do everything that we know, and working with our public relations girl at the Board of Commissioners. We're involved in every single, we do recruiting from the college, we do shadow programs and stuff like that. So we're doing everything we can, and we have been very, very fortunate to be at the rate that we are, and we are right now as fully staffed at the Sheriff's Office as we have been in a number of years. So we're doing what it takes.
What would you say are your leadership strengths and weaknesses? How would you play up your strengths, and what will you do to improve your weaknesses?
Popcorn. These questions were sent to us yesterday. We got 24 hours notice, and Shannon, thank you very much. And this may have been the hardest one for me, trying to identify my strengths and stuff. And I kind of came down to the simple fact that I think I'm a workaholic, okay? I think any employee that works for me right now will tell you I'm at the office at 6 o'clock every morning. I make the coffee, I unlock the doors, I turn the lights on. I average 50 to 60 hours a week. I'm there on Saturday and Sunday, returning my phone calls, returning my emails. So I am very committed. I'm very serious about the job. You folks have blessed me to put me in this position. I think it's only right that I dedicate and commit myself to serve you in the best way that I can. My weaknesses, I struggled with that one too, and I don't mean to say that by any means perfect, but probably one of the biggest weaknesses that I have is I don't take enough time for myself. I have not had a vacation in 5 years. I work all the time, okay? So I put the hours in. I think that is a strength. I probably do need to take more time off for myself. I need it. I deserve it. I just don't do it. So.
I feel like I have pretty good communication skills. I can make a decision on the fly. If I don't have the answer for you, I won't tell you. I won't BS you. I will actually go to somebody that's got the answer. I'm compassionate. I care about people. I'm very dependable and trustworthy, and I'm an extremely hard worker. You can ask anybody that's ever worked for me. I work hard. I will never ask my employees to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. My weakness, I would probably say I probably put too much trust in people. And the way to fix that, I'm going to surround myself with people that are smarter and better than me. I don't need a bunch of yes men working for me. I need people that's going to actually set me down and say, listen, we're trying to achieve the same goal, but maybe we can do it better this way or that way.
Keep standing. Tell us about your career successes.
Well, I've been able to tame, I started law enforcement at a very young age. I started when I was 18 years old and worked under him for 18 years. So law enforcement's really the only thing I've ever known. I've obtained my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I've obtained my intermediate advanced supervisory and management certification. I was assigned to a PACE unit, a proactive criminal enforcement unit. I was assigned to the sniper observation team. Both of those units he no longer has. I've been promoted to 2 different divisions. I was promoted to sergeant in the patrol division. I was promoted to sergeant in the narcotics unit. I've located murders over my career. I've made over hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of arrests. I feel that though some of my biggest successes have been through the lives of the people that I touched, especially when I was on the narcotics unit. People that we helped get off the drugs and get their families back. So I feel like that's probably my biggest success.
This may take me just a minute because I tried to go through, I guess, my biography or my resume and kind of go over and highlight these things. To start with, I was born in Florida, but I've been in Dalton since I was about 3 years old. My family moved here. And also, I'm a graduate of the Dalton Public Schools, Dalton State College. I'm a graduate of the FBI National Academy. I'm a graduate of the GBI Special Agents course. I'm a graduate of the FBI Leadership Executive Development course, the National Sheriff's Institute. I'm a graduate of the 2002 Leadership Dalton class. I was selected as Public Official of the Year in 1996. I was selected as Sheriff of the Year for the entire state of Georgia in 2002. I served as President of the Georgia Sheriff Youth Homes, the Georgia Sheriff's Association, President of the Big Brothers Big Sisters. In 1997, I was selected for a 15-person delegation to Israel to go over and study and train with the Israeli police. I was Corporate Security Director for Shaw Industry. I served as Chief Deputy under Judge G. Talent. I was elected as Sheriff in 1992 and certainly has served, until that time. The 287G program, we became a member in 2005, 2007. I think it was official 2008 here. We were the 3rd agency in the state. This is what we have accomplished. We're a member of the FBI Street Task Force, the DEA Drug Task Force. We've been asked to join the GBI Drug West Metro Task Force. We're a member of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Sorry about this. I had the privilege of working very closely with the Secret Service when Donald Trump came to Dalton 4 years ago. I've had the privilege to work the security and met with Vice President Dick Cheney, Mike Pence, and had the distinct honor of riding in the motorcade with Vice President Kamala Harris. I got invited in 1994 to witness President Bill Clinton at the White House sign the crime bill. So, had a good career. We have expanded in the department. We have the Avis fingerprint system, which basically is if we get fingerprint, we can connect it to the person if they've ever been in jail before. We have electronic fingerprint system in the detention office and the sex offender's office. We've expanded the sex offender registry unit. The property and evidence, we run 2 shifts with it. We've expanded the animal control unit with 3 fully equipped vehicles. We developed a comprehensive security plan for the courthouse and very detailed. Of course, that was state law, but we were one of the first to complete it. We've expanded the medical unit in the jail to about 16 hours a day. We have expanded our court services division to about 26 people, and I highlight that simply because we're on the road all the time traveling. We have a 2-person team in Texas picking up now. We've been to San Diego twice, Hawaii once, so I think that we have completed much of what my goal is, and I'm very proud to announce everything that I've shared with you.
Do you have a couple of questions? Okay.
That microphone. I'll go first.
Hey, all right, so I have a couple of online submissions that I'm gonna go over real quick. What is meant by needing or being a Republican sheriff versus the nonpartisan job that it is?
Sure. You wanna go first?
There is absolutely no difference in Democrat and Republican. That has absolutely no place in law enforcement whatsoever. I'm a constitutional officer. I get my power and authority through the governor of the state. We follow by the Constitution of the state of Georgia. You have 4 constitutional officers in each county: the sheriff, the probate judge, the clerk of superior court, and the tax commissioner. Every one of those officers should be nonpartisan. It has absolutely nothing to do with party affiliation whatsoever. To make a simple point to you, the city of Dalton took party affiliation out of the city charter. So the mayor, the city council, the board of education, chief of police doesn't have to declare, fire chief doesn't have to declare. Party has no bearing whatsoever in the office of sheriff and to do law enforcement.
If I run up to a scene and I'm speaking to you, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. It's not how I'm not going to treat you any differently. But you do need to know where your morals and beliefs and your ethics are, which party the sheriff belongs to. So I do. I mean, I'm a Republican. That's the platform I believe in.
Hold your applause. No.
Did you have one other question?
Hold your
Shannon?
applause.
Yes, I do have one more question for each of you, okay? So Darren, your platform has been that you're going to address or fix the things that are wrong, more or less. What are those issues that you're referring to?
Management's one. We're going to have to fix the management because we keep losing good officers, good veteran seasoned officers. It's because of the poor management. We're going to get aggressive on crime. We're going to go after the drug dealers. When's the last time you heard of a drug bust? It's been years, guys, years since we've had that. We're not tough on crime anymore. We're not. We've had murders left and right, but we've got to send a message to these criminals and these drug dealers that your behavior will not be tolerated in Whitfield County, and that's the message I plan to send to them.
And one more question, this one is for Sheriff Chitwood, and then we'll go to the audience. Sheriff Chitwood, folks would like to know your plan going forward in Dalton's ever-changing society.
Dalton's ever-changing society.
I didn't word it.
I understand. I think my focus would be to continue the professionalism that we've brought forth for 32 years. I haven't been challenged in over 12 years. There's not been one complaint, to my knowledge, sent to me. There's not been a letter to the editor. No complaints. I have not heard Democrat or Republican for 32 years. That's not an issue. So I think the best thing that I can do, since y'all have given me a vote of support for 32 years, is to continue the professional agency that we have going forward to continue to increase in technology and programs as we go forward. And that's my plan for the next 4 years.
Okay. We have time for a couple of questions from the audience. You gentlemen, you raised your hand first, right there. You. Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to address something. I'm a business person in Whitfield County. I've been for years. I travel a lot, so I see a lot of things. When I've seen this, and this pertains to city and county both, I see a lot of law enforcement officers sitting places, sitting in vehicles. I don't know what they're doing. I have not asked, but I'm just wondering what's going on. I mean, I see people running red lights all the time, rolling through intersections, speeding, texting, and all this. I called it in before to no avail, so I'm just curious as to what's the problem there.
I should be directing that to me, since I'm correct. Yeah, that would be the speculation, I guess, when you see an officer sitting on the side of the road. What's he doing? We have the in-car computers. Oftentimes the guys will pull off at the side of the road at a church, school, parking lot, whatever, doing their computer and stuff. They may very well be sitting on the side of the road or in a church parking lot, whatever, looking for a load, be on the lookout for a vehicle. So there's various excuses. Are they wasting time, or they may be eating lunch? A lot of times they eat in their cars. And also, they're certainly not sleeping or napping. But there's, so much going on. Yes, they will position themselves in strategic areas, to monitor the traffic and activity.
I think what this might be referring to is they're sitting there continuously for hours and hours and hours with violators going by and nothing being done. And they sit there day and day and day and day at the same spot. You gotta have a leader that actually supervises and tells them to get out, patrol, and do their job.
Think one more back there. You have one? Yes.
This is for both of you guys. Are your moral and/or spiritual beliefs consistent with your party's platform? If they are not, would you please explain why you remain in your party?
I'm a Christian. I believe in Christian values. That's what my values are.
I've been a member of my church for probably over 45 years. I get asked that question a lot as far as my affiliation. My father passed away in January at 97 years old, and he was a diehard Democrat. Of course, the older you people in the audience know 30 years ago, the Democratic was the place to be. The pendulum swung to the Republican Party for the, quote, common sense party. I never flip parties, because party has nothing to do with it whatsoever. Just out of dedication and loyal to my father, I stayed with the Democratic Party, but I do not believe the issues of the Democratic Party. Very simple, okay? If I ask every one of you in here right now, you don't have to answer, but you have made your choice of who you're gonna vote for president. If you're a presidential candidate, switch to the other ticket, would you still vote for him or her? You don't have to answer, think to yourself. If your answer is yes, then you're voting for the person. If your answer is no, you're supporting the party, which indicates if he was over here on this party and you're not supporting him, then you don't really believe in him. If she switched parties over here and you're not gonna support her, then you really don't support her over here. Party, again, has nothing to do with law enforcement. But you think about that answer, and yes, you have to believe, what you want to believe in your conscience and stuff, but I think I have enough common sense to know which way to go.
Thank you. We have time for one more
hold.
question.
Go ahead.
All right.
One more question. Who's gonna be? All right, sir,
Up
come on.
front. Oh,
This gentleman here in the red shirt, yes.
oh,
My question is about veterans. Now, when you arrest a veteran, you already know that he's got mental problems, and the majority of them are suicidal. Now, how much cooperation do you get from the VA and also from the Georgia Department of Veterans Affairs out of Atlanta to help these veterans?
We work with all the state and federal agencies like the VA and stuff in Atlanta. We get notifications. If we have somebody in jail, we get letters often once they receive notification that the person may be incarcerated, because it may or may not affect their VA benefits. We do not necessarily know on every person that we have in jail. We're averaging somewhere in the 400, 420 range. We may not know every single person, if they're a veteran or not. Whitfield County several years ago started a number of accountability courts. One that we were trying to do is the Veterans Court. Funding did not come through from Atlanta because it was designed to help veterans that were incarcerated. That money did not come through, so that program initially faded out, but it's not to say that it will not come back with this veteran.
Did you want to respond?
Did he ask what we're currently?
You're welcome to respond if you would like.
What, did you ask what we're currently doing, or what we're currently?
Well, what are you doing for them?
I got you.
mean, and the homeless veteran population is getting out of control, and they're not only men, they're women with children.
I agree.
And nobody's doing a damn thing.
Right. I agree.
Sir, come see me after, okay? Come see me after. Fellow veteran, I got you.
I think Sheriff answered that question.
Okay. We're gonna take two more, Joey, if we could. This gentleman first, and then this lady, and then this lady.
trying to raise her hand.
Yeah, we're doing this gentleman and then this lady, okay?
Okay,
And
gotcha.
then we're done.
Sheriff, this question is directed towards you. I walked in here with one question and I changed it after hearing you speak, but, I live in the Pleasant Grove community. My wife's a teacher at Pleasant Grove Elementary. Recently, yes, you have had some deputies coming in and out of there. But it's kind of a two-part question about the deputies being in the school system. I know it's with the school board and everything, but with all these shootings, number one, why has it not been done before now? And the second question came on to your response about the Pleasant Grove shooting, where you said, and I may be able to quote it, a dope deal gone wrong. I thought it wasn't drug related. So that was my biggest question there. And it not being gang related or drug related or anything like that. I guess as a citizen of this community, and everybody will agree with me, we deserve the right to know what's really going on.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and I don't want to go into much detail because it is still an ongoing investigation. We have executed something like 58 search warrants. We have arrested one individual. But I don't want to throw the school system under the table, but we have been asking this for several years. It got to a point where they actually told us, we're not going to do that. We were asking for it. We cannot arbitrarily assign a deputy on school campus. It has to be approved by the school system. We can go on the campus anytime we want to. I can go to any school, any campus that I want to at any time. But to have an officer assigned there, it has to be approved by the Board of Education and the school system. We have been doing it, as I mentioned, since 2021. It has finally been approved. Got the letter right here, I'll show you, September 21st. So now it is coming forward for something that we have been working on for 3 years, 2 years, something like that. So we'll have to get additional personnel for it, but we're very pleased to make that. I hope that makes everybody much more comfortable.
I have learned recently that the sheriff is a very, very powerful position. That you have the authority to override other federales. In fact, in North Carolina, it's the sheriffs that are calling in people to help those people there. the overriding the local government is not helping. I had given both of you a book about how the roles of a sheriff. And I would just like to learn what each of you, at one point, what you've learned from that book that I shared with you.
Thank you for the book. The sheriff is the last line of defense in protecting your constitution. So if the federal government tries to create a law or mandate or whatever and requires us to enforce that, I will not enforce it if it goes against our constitutional rights.
No, wait.
Yeah, I totally agree with Darren, absolutely. The sheriff is the most powerful elected official in any county in this country. Okay? The Georgia State Patrol cannot work in this county without my authority. The GBI cannot work one single case without my authority. Okay? They are here because I want them here. But I'm just saying, if push came to shove, I could kick them out. I'm not going to do that, obviously. But I'm just saying, as Darren said, the sheriff is the last line of defense. Okay? Federal government cannot come in and take your guns. That is not going to happen. Because it's going to have to come through the sheriff. And that will not be allowed.
Closing statement.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Closing statement.
All that for each one of you have a couple of minutes to wrap everything up and make your final statement, whichever one wants to go. Thank you.
I'll make it quick, so I know y'all ready to go home. Guys, look, he said 32 years to make the changes that I want to implement. You know, going back to your question there, I can guarantee you that the school board wouldn't say a thing if I was sheriff and I said, I'm going to station a deputy at your school in the parking lot to prevent any kind of threat that comes at school. They're not going to tell me no. All right, you've got to make it happen. Be the leader and take that initiative step and put the office in the school. This should have happened a long time ago. We've got to get drug canines on the road. We have to equip our deputies with the proper tools they need to make these drug busts, and we've got to send a message, guys. We've got to. He said 32 years. He said long enough to do all this. I'm asking you to vote for change. I'm asking you to vote for Darren Pierce for sheriff.
One thing that I want to go back on that was brought up, that our drug unit does not do anything, or when's the last time that you heard anything about it? In the last 14 years, we have seized over $4.5 million from drug seizures. Okay? We seized over 299 vehicles. We've seized 2 houses this year. One still pending some court dockets and stuff, but we seized one for sure, and we're in the process of seizing another. You're not going to stop drugs. Okay, the drug cartel coming in from Mexico is the 6th largest employer in Mexico, with an estimated income of $13 billion per year and $24 million per week. They're bringing it in across the borders. We have the open borders. We have probably the most aggressive drug unit in Northwest Georgia right now. And we will continue that. I think that I have served you honorably, and I think one of the things that I'm most proud of, that I have brought no embarrassment to you, the citizens of this county, as your elected official. There's been no scandals, there's been no negative publicity, and I'm very proud of that to serve you.
Yep.
So with that, I'll close, and I appreciate your vote of support. Thank you.
Hey everybody, thanks for behaving mostly. No, y'all did great. And thank you too for behaving mostly. I'm just kidding. We have great candidates, and I want to thank all of you and all of our candidates here. If we could give everybody, all of our candidates, a round of applause. I've been very impressed blessed with every single person that I have dealt with that is running for office, and I've had to deal with y'all a lot. But no, they've been wonderful. They have answered the call. They participate when we ask them to, and they show up, and they're happy to address the community. And I can't really ask for anything more than that. On the Legal Women Voter side, just so you know, if you're interested, our next meeting is October 29th at 5 p.m. at Logan's. We get that cool little garage area reserved. Our meetings are open to the public. Okay, you guys are welcome to come in and join us and see what we're talking about and what we're coming up with for the community. The next big event that we're doing with our candidates is a meet and greet. We are collaborating with Dalton State College. It is October 16th at 4 p.m. At the Dalton State College Auditorium, room 101A. For those of you that follow Legal Women Voters Dalton on Facebook, we're going to start publicizing that now that the forum is done, and so you don't have to remember all of this. You can just check us out there. Okay. Now we are going to do a drawing. Yeah. You can go ahead and stop the recording there, Julie. Thank you.